All right, we'll call this meeting to order Tuesday, October 29th, 2024. It's 1 p.m. Tracy, we're getting an echo back on your end.
Okay, let me put it mute on my part unless I speak.
Okay. All right. This meeting is to discuss the idea of creating a institutional public defense office in Shoshone County. Eric Frederickson, and I haven't met you yet. I'm David. David, nice to meet you. So tell me what this is about, because this one's kind of caught me in the blue here. I don't know what we're discussing.
Okay, so let me start from the very beginning and introduce myself so you know a little bit more about me. Eric Frederickson. I grew up in Jerome, Idaho, on a farm. I've been practicing law since 2002. Public defense the entire time. I started at the State Appellate Public Defender's Office. Worked there until about 2012, and then went into private practice. Private practice, I tried misdemeanor, juvenile, felony cases, and civil cases. The idea was to get some trial practice under my belt. I was brought back to the SAPD in 2016 or 2015. Took over as the chief of the the litigation unit in the office. After that, my predecessor left to go to the courts, and I was appointed to the State Appellate Public Defender. September 25th, I was appointed to the State Public Defender's Office. So since September 25th, we've been going nonstop. I had my last oral argument in front of the Idaho Supreme Court on September 22nd and started on September 25th. So we've been rolling. I will tell you that one of the biggest struggles we've had is North Idaho. We've had a lot of attorneys withdraw from cases. I never anticipated that we'd walk into a system and have 1,500 withdrawals in the first 2 weeks. We've worked to cover all those as much as we can. We worked with Judge Oxstein, Judge Dugan, to try to cover those, but Shoshone's a little tight right now. It was mostly contract and conflict attorneys that were up here, and now I think we only have a handful. What we've been doing is realizing that when you bring attorneys into an institutional office and you give them a salary, you give them benefits, and you give them retirement and vacation, and as you know, if you're a contract attorney, you take a week's vacation, that's just a week you're not getting paid. The institutional attorneys that would come in would have full vacation, full sick benefits, and we bring them at a salary that's commensurate with other attorneys throughout the state. Our goal with Shoshone County is to have an institutional office and still use contract and conflict attorneys. We want to be able to house people here in Shoshone County so they're residents of Shoshone County. The goal is to work on improving public defense and making sure that you have your attorneys that are stationed right here in Shoshone County, in Wallace. Right now, since we took over on October 1, Jerome County has decided to have an institutional office. Elmore County has decided to have an institutional office. Just yesterday, Benoit County decided to have an institutional office. And then I just got done meeting in Nez Perce County, and we're working on some elements of that deal, but I suspected at some point in the near future they'll become an institutional office as well.
How are these funded?
Through the state. So right now, let's talk a little bit about the budget. Our budget was based on 2021 numbers. And so everybody in this room knows, and it affected counties throughout the state a little bit differently. But that was COVID years. In COVID years, there wasn't very much litigation going on. Cost of public defense was down. That's what the numbers are based on. Right now, we're at $49 million. I resubmitted my budget request this morning, and we're just under $70 million right now. So part of it is general fund, and part of it is through the Wayfarers Fund. And so the Wayfarers Fund is the internet tax, and that's $36 million that automatically goes in every year. The neat part about the Wayfarers Fund is what we don't use, we get interest on, and we can help to build the offices up with that interest.
Okay. Now, are you talking about a fully funded public defender here, then plus contracts? That's what you're.
Yep. So we'd have a fully funded public defender here, and most would be probably conflicts, but some contracts.
Okay.
A lot of the CPA cases, Child Protection Act cases, those would be contracted out.
Okay.
But the vast majority would be conflict cases. And so right now we're sitting at, and this has kind of been the big concern, we're trying to figure out a number across the state of Idaho. And so when you take 44 counties, and as you travel across the state, as I have done 5 times now, every county's fundamentally different. Which is why we want to have district defenders that covers the district. And the best part about having an institutional office in Shoshone County, you would have an imagining attorney in Shoshone County that would just be handling Shoshone County issues. So be running that office. Our goal is not to be treated as the state of Ada Public Defender's Office.
Mm-hmm.
We're state of Idaho. I have my general counsel's in Coeur d'Alene. My litigation director is in the Blaine County area, and I have our ACA person is in eastern Idaho, in Preston. Our goal is to spread everybody out throughout the state.
Okay.
That's not create that perception that it's just the state of Ada.
That's neat.
As you know, I'm a small town Jerome kid, so.
Mhm.
The biggest struggle that we've had is some of the rural counties. Rural counties is Ada County, not much of a worry with public defense. They're able to draw people in. And the rural counties, it's hard to pull people to the rural counties for public defense because, for example, in Bannock County, the salaries were for the same position, and Ada County is $169. In Bannock County, they're paid $85,000 to $90,000 a year. Drawing people to rural counties can be difficult because oftentimes our spouses can't find the same job they would find in a bigger area, which is why it's important to raise the salaries. Our focus has been the rural counties. We obviously care about Ada County. Ada County is taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Ada County has been run very well. The vast majority of the institutional office has been run very well. Our goal is to improve it throughout the state of Idaho, not just in the big suburban areas.
Okay, that's great. I know, we're running into that same problem because we have Kootenai County next door.
Yeah.
And our budget is completely different than theirs. And our prosecutors over here get paid quite a bit less. Just same way with our clerks, and it's an issue.
It is, and I think that's where a lot of our clients are underserved. And just the access. There are some small counties where there's one attorney in the entire county that does any legal work, and generally they don't do public defense. And so for a while we were flying an attorney into that county just to handle public defense cases. I don't want to do that. I'd rather start to build the county from inside out.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I know we've had that issue here. Long ago there was a lot of attorneys that were in Shoshone County, and now we maybe have 3, counting or 4 counting our prosecutor's office. We had 1 retire, and it's just getting attorneys here is it is a problem. And I'm glad you guys have come up and you've seen that. And, yeah.
No, it is. I mean, Shoshone's been high on our radar since October 1st and before. Okay. I think Shoshone had some of the highest withdrawals throughout the state of attorneys and cases. And so we're trying to fill that gap. I can tell you we're recruiting in Montana, Utah, Washington, Oregon, for people right out of law school. And then just over the border, we have people in Washington that we're recruiting to come over and handle public defense cases.
Okay. Yeah, we appreciate it.
So when a county decides that they want to help with having this institutional office, what is incumbent on that county to do?
So the first thing we need to do is Department of Admin needs to find a space for the office, and that depends on the size that we decide on. And that's working with the caseload to make sure the attorneys aren't overwhelmed. So Department of Admin will start that process in the event that you vote to go forward with an institutional office. The one thing I don't have an answer for is utilities. So the way the statute's written, it's written that the county shall provide office space, and then there's a certain section that says the other things the county should provide. We need to get an opinion to figure out if utilities is one of those things. So it's either the state that's going to provide those, and if that's the case, then we're happy to do so. Or the way the statute's written, it could be the county.
Is there any financial responsibilities for the county on this?
Other than providing space,
The space? That's basically it.
Which is a challenge in this county.
Mm-hmm.
and that was going to be my next question is, so do you have space that would maybe handle 4 attorneys, 3 staff?
Not in the county buildings, no.
I mean, we've even got offices that we've had to rent out for employees in the past here in buildings in town.
I'll put our Department of Admin on that immediately and see if there's something that they can find that's close and working with you.
Okay.
And I'll have, his name's, last name's Brian. I'll have him reach out. Okay.
One of our challenges would be that we didn't budget for any expenses. Did we? Did we leave a little in the budget for public?
Yeah,
Tracy, do you remember what we left?
Timmy's right here.
Well, Tracy did this.
Okay.
Are you still there, Tracy? Did I lose you, Tracy? Okay, well, we lost Tracy.
Fun part of Zoom. Phone calls.
There's definitely an amount in there. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it was to help with cover things that the state wouldn't be covering. So there's some in the budget for it, for sure.
A lot of this is kind of figuring out the first month when everybody reads a statute, everybody reads it differently.
Okay.
And so trying to clarify all of that, we'll be doing that.
Okay, I'm going to turn on the speaker on my phone.
But,
Have budgeted was
Here.
for the CASA program and the contract that we have with Mr. Schwartz. So I would have to pull that up and look at, but what we have in our budget was for that this year.
Okay, you were cut off on the first part. Say that
Okay.
again.
What we have in the budget is for the CASA person and then the contract with Mr. Schwartz.
The CASA person of Mr. Schwartz.
Yeah.
He's not one of the ones that have backed off of the cases, is he?
to my knowledge,
No, he's doing the CASA program and
he's
I
withdrawn
think
from
that's,
the
I have
significant
to
number
look
of
at it. I can't remember
cases.
now.
Yeah.
Okay. So cost to the county to have an office would be the space and possibly utilities. Would there be any other expenses we'd have to look at?
State would take everything else over. You don't have to stress about us anymore.
Well, the two things that we don't have a lot of spare of are money or space. Okay. Well, what has happened in these other counties? Have they typically gone away and thought about this and then acted on it? Or are they?
So Benoit agreed to do it right away. Jerome voted on it immediately. Elmore County voted immediately. Nez Perce, we're waiting on the answer on the utilities. So I told them they could hold off and vote on it until I get back to them on that. And they have two commissioners that are retiring in 2 months, and so that also puts them a little uneasy in what they want to do. So, which is understandable.
Well, I think I would want time for us to look at the budget and figure out if we've definitely got funds there for, I mean, office, if we'd be looking at renting office space in the town of Wallace somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. Can we hold it off for a week?
Oh, of course.
Okay. Yeah, because it would be nice to see what, and then maybe talk to have Brian or the fellow that was looking.
Richard Bryan.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll reach out to Richard on my way home
Okay.
and give him a call and have him start looking.
Okay. And then
And then
we'll
reach out to you.
Okay, that would be great. And then we'll figure out what our budgetary needs are, and then figure out how we're going to fund it.
I mean, by 2029, the state will be taking everything over. So
Okay.
all the leases. So if there's something that we can lease, you can actually lease it to us, and we'll pay you for the lease.
Okay.
If we end up finding a place that that's county owned.
Okay.
But you need room for about 4 attorneys.
I think we're looking at about 4.
4.
4 and 3. So 2 to 3 admins.
2 or 3 admin,
Yeah, so legal secretaries.
but total of 4.
I would say
Total of 7.
total of 6.
6.
Yeah, that would take some significant space. So what? Go ahead, Tracy.
Oh, no, I was just saying, wow, I hope we'll have to do some investigating.
Let me run all the numbers and I'll get those to you.
Okay. I appreciate that.
We have I just did my budget again this morning, so I have all those numbers. What we're going to budget for Shoshone County,
Okay.
and the reality is we're actually going to pay a little bit more than you guys are paying right now, just to bring in and get everything settled in Shoshone County.
Okay.
And for the counties who don't vote to do an institutional public defense office, how will their needs get met? These small counties.
It'll be the same as it's done right now. So it'll be through contract conflicts. There's some counties that it just makes no sense to have somebody permanently in that county because they just, I think it's Kansas County had like 12 cases last year, which I would take full salary and just handle 12 cases. That seems like a good gig to me.
Yeah, that would be.
But some counties that just doesn't make sense. But the idea of the state system is to provide a support system to those smaller counties, so the contract attorneys, they'll have somebody to reach out to.
Okay.
And if we need to send somebody from Blaine County to Kansas County to cover a case, we can do that. Same is true with all the institutional offices. The important part about Benoit is they have a steady inflow of cases, but it's enough that one attorney can cover that county.
Okay.
Shoshone's got a little bit more.
Yeah.
We're blessed with a freeway that brings us all kinds of gifts. Many gifts.
My guess is you see a lot of drug cases.
Yeah, we do. So definitely the freeway impacts us in that area. Okay. Well, what else would you need from us this afternoon?
Not anything else. Just really excited you guys had me in.
Yeah.
It's great to meet you.
I appreciate your effort to go around the state. That's no small feat to get all done. across it.
You know, I actually love it. It's my 5th time all the way through. First time in law, so I apologize for that. I haven't been here since I was 24. So that was only a couple years ago.
Couple of years.
Yes.
I was going to say it hasn't changed that much. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you guys, thinking about the smaller counties. I mean, that's kind of,
That's what we need the state to keep their eye on.
yeah,
Well, our eyes directly on it.
I appreciate that.
Shoshone, Benoit, I think those are big important parts of this trip. Espers too, and then Kootenai, getting Kootenai back up to staff. Fortunately, they're about half staff by the time Ann left. So,
Okay.
but we just got 2 new attorneys that are coming over there, so we'll get them filled out.
And I've lost Tracy again. Let's open up the public. I know we have this Josh McDonald from our local media. I know he's probably got a question or two. We got some other public.
Yeah. So how's the new system working? Like, going smoothly? Like, any hiccups in it? State-run stuff, and especially in these smaller counties, we tend to, like you said, we don't want to be state of Ada, but oftentimes we feel kind of left out. So, how's it going?
So it's going pretty well as we expect. I mean, we see some of these. So we saw Luma come in. I don't know if you know about Luma or Odyssey. Some of those big changes often take time. We're ahead of where I thought we would be. It's bumpy. Day one, we had the first 2 weeks we had 1,500 withdrawals. So my litigation director, I don't know if you met him, Doug Nelson. He was up here litigating cases in Shoshone County and Kootenai County, just to have that coverage. I was in Jerome County. We had attorneys that would set over cases for months on end. So October 1, our first day, I was in Jerome County at 44 status conferences.
Wow.
Had a first-degree murder prelim the next day, where the attorney was let out the day before. So those are some of the struggles that we're dealing with. It's a big backlog when that many attorneys withdraw from cases. I would tell you, I would never expect it.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either. Yeah.
Most of the public defenders are dedicated to their clients, and all it does is harm the clients when people get out. And so we're working on getting that backload taken care of, and making sure we have people. I know Judge Oxidine reaches out to me on a regular basis, just to make sure that they have coverage up here. That's the beauty of getting an institutional office, is you'll have coverage that's already sitting here.
So with you said how many withdrawals? 1,500.
Last time I checked, and this was 6 days ago, we were 1,500 cases that were withdrawn from.
So how many contract attorneys currently work for you
I
guys?
think we're about 100.
Wow. Okay. And then, like, so indigent defendants, are there indigent?
Let me get that number for you for sure, but I think that's less. We're somewhere in there. I'll get that number if you give me your card.
Yeah. Are there currently indigent defendants, like in Shoshone County or Kootenai County, currently without representation because of it?
So the last one I heard was last night. It was a CPA case, and we got an attorney on it before. The problem is we don't know what we don't know, and so with the contract and conflict cases, for example, Kootenai County was conflicting a bunch of cases out that were simply just overflowed because they were understaffed for months and months.
Okay.
And so we reached out to Supreme Court to see if they could transfer all the cases that were out there, because we don't have access to that. So they've been working with us. The TCA has been working with us. There's been a couple that have slipped through, and I will tell you that breaks my heart every single time. And so we do our best to get an attorney up there to it.
Gotcha. So is that how you guys handle overflow cases then too? It's just all hands on deck? Or?
It is all hands on deck right now.
Okay.
Once we get fully staffed to get everybody back in, and I'm hopeful that some of these attorneys will come back. But if not, we had 16 applications for attorneys the last time we submitted something. So there's a lot of people who want to come in and do it.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Any other public comment or question?
Yeah, I'm trying to catch my head around this. So you bring in one guy from the state, you would still have the 3 contract attorneys. I believe we only have 3 now, right?
Right. So we'd bring in actually probably 3 or 4 attorneys, and then we'd also have the contract and conflict attorneys as well.
So we'd have 3 contract attorneys and you bring in 3, or just one?
We'd bring in 3 that are institutional.
So that'd be 6 attorneys would have on it.
Yeah, that would be
Plus 2
available.
administrators. Okay. You guys would still be bound by how many felonies you can do a year and how many misdemeanors. Okay, I know we get a problem there because we got contract attorneys that actually contract for other counties, and they get into the problem, they've got felonies they're doing there and felonies they're doing here, which uses up how many cases they can do.
And I don't mean to turn my back to you. So we're going to switch it up from caseload to workload. So the case management system allows us to track how busy the attorneys are. And it's not just based on cases, because you could get 2 cases, you get 2 DUIs, and one DUI pleads out immediately, and it takes, 4 to 6 hours at the most for the attorney. The next one could go to trial, could have post-trial hearings, and that could take 50, 60 hours. So you can't weigh those two cases the same because they're very different on the amount of work that the attorney has. And so we're trying to figure out a way to track cases based on how busy the attorney is, not how many cases they have.
Okay.
And as we know, some attorneys are better than others, and so they can read discovery and they can pick up on what the issues are immediately. There are other attorneys that may be newer, that may take them a little bit longer to figure out what the issues are in the case. And so those attorneys would have a lower workload compared to the attorneys that carry more cases, more of a workload. It's the only fair way to do it, I see, for the contractors. And some contractors like to work more than others. And there are some that want to work 60 hours a week. Personally, I'm tired of the 60, 70 hours a week. I'm going to take a little vacation. But some of them want to do that. And so if that's something they want to do and they can handle their workload, it's something that we'll allow them to do on a attorney by attorney basis. It's we don't want burnout.
Yeah.
And so I don't want an attorney taking 60 hours a week over and over and over again. But the reality is if you go to trial, you may have a 60-hour week preparing for trial.
Right. Are you guys approaching Cooten County with the same kind of offer to build an office or come in and establish an office?
So they already have an established office.
Okay.
The struggle that we've had with Kootenai County is when Ann left, they were about half staffed. And so I think there's a lot of different reasons that is the case. So we've been all hands on deck trying to recruit attorneys to get down there. I will tell you when I interview law students, most of them want to be up north. They want to go to Kootenai County, and the ones that grew up like I did, that grew up hunting and fishing, they want to be up here. And that's who we want to attract to come in, and because we know those people will stay. I don't necessarily want somebody up here for 2 years, although we take it. I'd rather have somebody up here and establish, a relationship with the county and, in the city and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
That's our ultimate goal.
Well, thank you, and thank you for making the trip.
Let me grab you some cards over
Yeah.
too.
And we'll be adjourned.